Dreams are easy. They don't require a schedule, a discipline, or a routine. They don't ask for sacrifice. You can close your eyes, lean back, and become the hero of your imagination in just a few seconds. You can be rich, famous, strong, wise, and admired, all in the privacy of your own mind. But here's the trap. Because it's so easy to dream, most people never move beyond it. They start confusing the dream with the journey. They think imagining is enough. They think wishing for success is the same as earning it. But dreams are free, and that's exactly why they don't come with results. The price tag is still waiting on the shelf, and it says work. There's a difference between fantasizing about the top of the mountain and climbing it. A dream doesn't prepare you for the wind, the pain in your legs, the cold air, or the moments you feel like turning back. A dream is clean and beautiful. But the work is messy. It's uncomfortable. It's full of repetition, setbacks, doubts, and long hours that no one else sees. That's why most people stay at the bottom, not because they lack the dream, but because they aren't willing to pay what it costs. You want to be successful, that's good. But ask yourself, what are you doing at 5 in the morning when it's still dark outside and the bed is warm? What are you doing when everyone else is relaxing after work and you've still got that goal staring at you like it's daring you to quit? That's where success is built, not in the comfort of your dream, but in the discomfort of your discipline. Dreams don't wake you up early. Work does. Dreams don't make your hands ache. Work does. Dreams don't tell you to skip the party or leave your phone in another room. Work does. There's something powerful about a person who decides they're done dreaming and ready to build. They begin to shift from I wish to I will. They understand that success is not something you bump into by accident. It's not a treasure chest buried randomly in the backyard. It's the reward of repeated effort. It's the consequence of consistent action. You might start with a dream, but if you stop there, you'll never get the full picture. A dream is just the blueprint. Work is the construction crew. And yes, the work is slow. Yes, it gets boring. You'll have days where you question everything. You'll fail. You'll look around and see people who didn't even try, laughing, celebrating, and living like they've already made it. And you'll be tempted to think that dreaming was better. But stay with the work, because unlike the dream, work compounds. Every page you write, every rep you lift, every book you study, every call you make, it all stacks up. You don't see it at first. It's quiet. But one day you'll look around and realize the results didn't come from the dream. They came from the price you paid. Success is loyal to those who show up without applause. It shows up for those who keep showing up when they're tired, when they're doubting, when they're frustrated. And when it arrives, it doesn't look like the fantasy you once imagined. It looks better. It feels real. It carries the weight of your story. It's got your fingerprints on it, your late nights, your early mornings, your sacrifices, and your scars. You don't get that from a dream. You get that from work. The people who make the most noise about their plans are often the ones who never finish what they start. They talk about success like it's something that can be summoned by a clever post, a motivational quote, or a vision board hanging on the wall. They're loud about what they're going to do, about the future they're aiming for, about the business they're about to launch. But real success doesn't grow in the noise. It grows in silence. It grows in the hours when you're grinding alone while the world is sleeping. It grows in quiet routines, in small daily improvements, in the calm places where disciplined lives and distractions are denied entry. There's a reason why the tallest trees don't make a sound when they grow. They just rise. 1 inch at a time, 1 day at a time. The roots go deep before the branches reach wide, and during that time there is no applause, no spotlight, no crowd. That's the way success works. It doesn't show up all at once. It doesn't come with a marching band. It comes slowly, steadily, and only to those who stay faithful to the process when no one's watching. Noise is easy. Anyone can be loud. Anyone can show off a few hours of effort and pretend it's consistency. But building something real, that takes more than just noise. It takes focus, and focus loves silence. You don't need to post every step of your journey. You don't need to announce your goals to people who won't help you achieve them. You don't need to explain your plans to those who are only listening so they can measure your progress and feed their own insecurity. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them guess. Because while they're distracted by the sound of their own voices, you're already putting in the reps, solving the problems, sharpening the skill, and stacking the wins. Real work looks boring from the outside. It's not glamorous. It's not flashy. It's repetition. It's rejection. It's rewriting the same sentence until it sounds right. It's saying no to comfort because you've said yes to purpose. That's why most people can't stick with it. They get discouraged because no one notices. They stop because there's no trophy on day one. But success doesn't respond to those who need recognition to move forward. It responds to those who are humble enough to do the work in private and patient enough to wait for the results in public. There's something powerful about walking into a room and letting your work speak for itself. No need for long introductions. No need to convince anyone of who you are or what you've done. They'll feel it in your presence. They'll see it in your results. And that's because while others were busy trying to impress, you were busy trying to improve. You didn't chase followers. You chased progress. You didn't seek applause. You sought mastery. And mastery is always born in silence. When you build in silence, you also protect your energy. You're not wasting time defending your dream. You're not draining your spirit arguing with people who haven't earned the right to influence your path. Instead, you're fully invested in the journey. You're giving your craft the respect it deserves. You're turning down the noise outside so you can hear the voice inside, the one that tells you to keep going, to push harder, to trust the process even when it feels invisible. Some of the most successful people you'll ever meet didn't say a word while they were building. They just showed up, worked hard, and let time be their witness. Their results came without noise, but their impact echoed loud and clear. That's the kind of success worth chasing. The kind that doesn't need to be declared because it can't be denied. Every goal worth achieving comes with a price. That price is paid in effort, and effort always brings pain. The pain of waking up when your body begs for rest. The pain of discipline when your mind craves distraction. The pain of putting in the hours, making the sacrifices, walking away from ease, and doing what most people are unwilling to do. It's not easy, and it's not supposed to be. But that pain, as sharp as it feels in the moment, is temporary. It fades, it becomes part of your strength. What never fades, what never softens, is the pain of regret, the ache of looking back on what you could have done, should have done, but didn't. There's a kind of sadness that shows up when the opportunity is already gone. It visits you quietly. It doesn't shout, but it whispers in the silence when you're alone with your thoughts. It reminds you of the time you wasted, the days you procrastinated, the chances you walked away from because you didn't feel ready or because it was just too hard. That voice isn't loud at first, but over the years it grows. It becomes heavier. It stays with you because you never got to find out what could have been if you had just pushed through the pain of effort. Effort pain is real, yes, but it's also manageable. You sweat, you struggle, you feel the burn, but you survive it. You grow through it. And in the end, it gives you something. It gives you results. It gives you confidence. It builds a version of you that didn't exist before. It's the kind of pain that transforms, the kind that rewards you for enduring it. But regret gives you nothing. It takes. It steals. It robs you of peace, of joy, of the satisfaction that comes from knowing you gave your best. Regret leaves you standing in front of a mirror, wishing you had the courage to act when it mattered. That's why those who work, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, even when it feels like they're not making progress, they're the ones who sleep well at night. Not because every day was easy, but because they know they didn't quit. They didn't run from the struggle. They leaned into it. They chose the temporary pain of effort so they could avoid the permanent weight of regret. And that decision, that one choice, makes all the difference in the world. You see, when you push through the pain, you're building more than success. You're building resilience. You're training your mind to become stronger than your excuses. You're proving to yourself that your comfort zone doesn't define you. And once you experience that, once you know what it's like to stand on the other side of pain with pride in your heart and results in your hands, you never want to go back. Because now you understand something most people never do. That effort, even when it hurts, is always a better companion than regret. People who chase comfort end up uncomfortable in the long run. They avoid effort because it's tiring. They avoid discipline because it's inconvenient. But what they don't realize is that comfort without purpose becomes a trap. It lulls you into inaction. It tricks you into thinking you have time. And then one day the clock runs out, and all you're left with is the realization that you were never short on ability, just short on will. The pain of effort shows up now. It demands something from you today. It asks you to give up short-term pleasure in exchange for long-term fulfillment. And if you accept that deal, you'll find that the pain fades quickly, sometimes in hours, sometimes in days. But the pride sticks around, the confidence stays, the growth multiplies. You learn to walk through difficulty without flinching because you know that what waits on the other side is worth it. But if you run from the pain now, you sign up for the achy of wondering what would have happened if you'd just shown up, if you'd just tried a little harder, if you'd been brave enough to stay the course when it got uncomfortable. People love the idea of luck. It's romantic, it's easy. It's the story we tell ourselves when someone rises quickly, when someone wins big, when someone reaches a level of success that seems far beyond the average. We say they got lucky. But that statement often hides the truth. The truth is, behind every so-called lucky break is a trail of preparation, a trail of long nights, missed vacations, steady practice, and relentless patience. Luck may open the door once, but preparation is what makes sure you're ready to walk through it and stay inside when others are pushed back out. Success is not some random act of the universe. It's not a matter of being born in the right place or meeting the right person at the perfect time. Those moments may come, but if you're not prepared mentally, emotionally, physically, and skillfully, those moments pass right by you. You won't recognize them. Or worse, you'll recognize them, reach for them, and collapse under the weight of unpreparedness because the opportunity came, but you weren't ready. And that's a pain much deeper than failure. It's the pain of knowing it could have been yours if you had just done the work beforehand. A farmer doesn't blame the weather for an empty harvest if he never planted the seeds. He doesn't stand in the field staring at dry soil, wishing the crops would appear just because he hoped they might. He knows that preparation is not optional. He knows that unless the field is tilled, the seeds are planted, and the care is constant, there will be nothing to reap when the season comes. Success works the same way. You can't expect the rewards of a life you didn't prepare for. You can't envy the results of someone else's consistency if you've been living in sporadic bursts of half effort. Preparation means doing the work when there's no spotlight, no deadline, no immediate payoff. It's reading the extra chapter when no one asked you to. It's rehearsing the presentation when no one is watching. It's staying committed to the routine even when no opportunity is on the horizon. It's building strength before the challenge shows up. Because when the challenge does arrive, it doesn't wait for you to catch up. It rewards the one who was ready long before the moment arrived. There's a difference between being given a chance and being ready to make something of it. Many people have been given chances they wasted, not because they weren't capable, but because they weren't prepared. They wanted success to knock on their door, but they hadn't built anything worth opening the door to. So when it came, it found them dreaming instead of doing. And the opportunity, like all visitors who are ignored, left quietly and didn't return. Preparedness builds confidence. It gives you that internal grounding that says, I may not control when the opportunity comes, but I'll be ready when it does. It keeps you focused on what you can do instead of worrying about what might happen. You stop waiting for permission. You stop hoping for handouts. You start taking responsibility for your preparation, knowing that the world has a funny way of giving chances to those who seem to be ready for them. You'll hear people say they were in the right place at the right time, but what they rarely mention is how long that person worked to be in the right place. How many years they spent learning the skills, showing up early, staying late, staying humble, and sharpening their edge. What looks like sudden success is often years in the making. The world notices the moment you shine, but not the 1,000 hours you spent polishing in the dark. So the next time you find yourself waiting for a lucky break, stop and ask if you're truly prepared to handle it. Because luck may come, and if it does, you'll want to be the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't hesitate, doesn't blink. The one who steps up and says, I've been ready for this. Not because the stars aligned, but because the hours were invested, the work was done, and the foundation was built long before anyone was watching. There's a dangerous myth that floats around the world of success, the myth that motivation is the magic ingredient. That once it hits you, everything becomes easy. That when the mood strikes, you'll leap out of bed inspired and full of energy, ready to conquer the day. But motivation is like the wind. It comes and goes. Some days it's strong, some days it disappears. And if your journey depends on the wind always blowing, you'll never leave the shore. That's why dreamers wait and workers move. Dreamers sit on the couch waiting to feel like it, while workers understand that movement creates the mood, not the other way around. Workers know a secret: you don't have to feel like doing something in order to do it. You just have to do it. That first step, no matter how small, is the ignition. And once the engine starts, everything begins to shift. The hardest part is not the work, it's starting the work. Because once you're in motion, something clicks. You gain rhythm, you begin to see progress. And progress gives birth to purpose. That's how momentum is built, not from watching motivational videos or waiting for the perfect day, but from choosing to act when it would have been easier to wait. The reason dreamers stay stuck is because they've tied their actions to their emotions. If they don't feel inspired, they don't move. If they're not excited, they don't begin. They become addicted to the feeling, not the result. But feelings lie. Feelings change. One bad night of sleep, one harsh comment, one difficult moment, and the dreamer pulls the brakes. But the worker keeps going, not because they feel like it, but because they made a decision to. That decision was built on commitment, not convenience. Commitment doesn't care about mood swings. It doesn't wait for a good day or perfect weather. It wakes you up at 5 a.m. when you're tired. It pushes you to train when your legs are sore. It tells you to study when the party sounds better. It forces you to show up again and again until you don't just chase success, you become it. That's what momentum does. It transforms action into habit and habit into identity. There's a beautiful power in momentum because it compounds, it multiplies. What starts as a 10-minute task turns into an hour of focus. What begins as one page leads to an entire chapter. You look back and realize that the mountain you feared was just a staircase you decided to climb one step at a time. The dreamer still stands at the bottom, planning, thinking, waiting. The worker is halfway up, fueled not by inspiration, but by motion. Workers understand that momentum doesn't just help them build skills. It helps them break chains. Chains of laziness, chains of doubt, chains of fear. Every action chips away at the resistance. Every choice rewrites the story. Instead of saying, I can't, the worker begins to say, I did. That shift from potential to proof is what separates those who achieve from those who only imagine. There are mornings when the worker feels just as unmotivated as the dreamer. But the difference is the worker doesn't listen to that voice. They've trained themselves to act first and think later because they know that once they move, the energy shows up. Once they begin, the fire returns. And even when it doesn't, they don't stop. Because momentum isn't about being on fire every day. It's about refusing to stop walking even when the fire fades. This is where real power lies, in the discipline to start when it's inconvenient, in the grit to continue when it's boring, in the resilience to finish when it's hard. Because motivation may light the match, but momentum keeps the furnace burning. The dreamer stares at the matchbox, waiting. The worker strikes the match, lights the flame, and keeps feeding it every day with action after action, hour after hour, no matter how they feel. Respect is not something you ask for with words. It's not granted through a title or a claim. True respect is earned through consistency, through effort, and most of all, through relentlessness. People watch how you move when it's difficult, how you carry yourself when no one's clapping, how you react when life pushes back. They don't respect the person who starts strong and fades away. They respect the one who keeps showing up again and again, no matter the conditions. Because relentlessness speaks a language that everyone understands. It says, I'm serious, I'm here, and I won't be moved. There's a difference between ambition and relentlessness. Ambition is the dream. It's the fire that starts the journey. It's the goal written on a whiteboard or shared in a speech. But relentlessness, that's the grind behind closed doors. That's the commitment when the applause stops. That's the strength to keep swinging when your arms are tired. People may admire your ambition, but they respect your relentlessness because that's the proof. That's the evidence that you meant what you said. The truth is, this world isn't kind to the passive. It rewards the persistent. If you stop at the first sign of resistance, the world takes note. It labels you as someone who doesn't finish, someone who folds under pressure. But when you keep going, when you work through the noise, the criticism, the doubt, something shifts. People begin to pay attention not to your words, but to your pattern. And patterns are powerful. Patterns tell the truth. They reveal whether you're a dabbler or a doer, whether you're playing or building, whether you want it or you just want to look like you want it. Relentlessness is quiet. It doesn't brag. It doesn't announce. It simply works. It does the hard thing on the hard day. It gets up after failure. It takes the punch and steps forward anyway. And it does this not once, but repeatedly, over and over, until your presence starts to command something unspoken. People begin to say less around you, not out of fear, but out of recognition. They see the discipline in your eyes, the focus in your walk, the results in your life. They know they're in the presence of someone who didn't just wish, they worked. They didn't just start, they stayed. And the beautiful part is, you don't need to demand respect when you're relentless. It follows you. It grows around you like a shadow. Not because you said you're worthy, but because your actions left no doubt. You showed up when it rained. You trained when you were tired. You gave more than you took. You endured when others gave up. You didn't flinch when the pressure came. And people respect what they cannot fake. They respect endurance. They respect consistency. They respect the person who continues to fight when there's nothing left to prove. Relentlessness isn't about perfection. It's about refusing to quit when you're imperfect. It's about rising again after defeat. It's about showing the world, and more importantly, yourself, that you're not defined by comfort or convenience. You're defined by commitment. You've made a decision, and no mood, no circumstance, no excuse can shake it loose. That's power. Not loud, not flashy, but firm. And people respect what is firm. Every profession, every relationship, every dream responds to the same principle. Stay long enough and it will change you. Push long enough and it will bend in your direction. You won't need to shout about your strength. It will become visible in your results, in your character, and in your reputation. Because the relentless don't just win, they become the standard. Not because they're better, but because they refuse to go away. They refuse to slow down. They refuse to be ordinary. They earn their respect not through words, but through the quiet force of never backing down. Success never bows to wishes, applause, or fantasies. It bows to action. It recognizes the ones who rise when it's dark, who labor in silence, who choose the temporary pain of discipline over the lifelong sting of regret. It doesn't answer to noise, it answers to preparation. While others dream, the relentless build. While some wait for the right mood, the dedicated create motion with tired hands and clear purpose. Respect doesn't come to those who simply hope. It finds those who refuse to quit, who outlast failure, who show up day after day with the same quiet fire. You don't get there by dreaming about it. You get there by working for it.